Hall Financial is the parent company down in Dallas, Texas. Craig, that's his business. They do a lot of private investment, property investment, and management, and that's where he made his fortune. And when they got married, they bought the home up in Rutherford, and it was 3 different plots and vineyards that were up there that kind of they combined into one and built their home and intended on starting a Cabernet label. Because
what year was this?
Around early mid-90s, in that time frame right there. And right when they were getting ready to start the label, Catherine got appointed ambassador to Austria for the United States under the Clinton administration. Okay. So they put the winery on hold while she served as ambassador to Austria for just over 3.5 years. I think it was somewhere in that range. Then when she came back, they started the Hall wine label in the late 90s. And they built the caves. Have you done the cave tour up at the home?
Not yet, because the tour visit has been really rushed. Okay. So we just had a time to taste, but never learning the history of the whole label.
So next time you should go to that cave tour. It's beautiful. But they built the caves, and she had Austrian stonemasons come over and build like everything, and it's vaulted ceilings with chandeliers and like.
So this is on the whole property.
It's the tasting room in St. Helena. That's separate. Up in the hills in Rutherford. So on the east side of the Napa Valley, way up in the hills, is their home and the caves.
And that's where they make the wines?
Where they originally made the wines.
Okay.
They still do make some, but it's very, very small.
And they make the wine now
in St. Helena, where you were this morning.
Okay.
So the cave and the small production area there is where they made wine. Okay. And then they expanded, they bought the Bergfeld Vineyard, which is where the tasting room is in St. Helena, the old Bergfeld building that sits out front, and then they had just a small tasting room there for many, many years, and as they built the label, and then they built the new modern tasting room, and that opened 6 years ago now. Okay, is when they opened that. So it's been a slow build, but they've definitely grown.
Did that was Hall already very famous before then, or that's when Hall started to take off and then have a lot of following?
Yeah, Hall had some really well-regarded wines that had scored very well for them. They had a 100-point wine in excellence. They had gotten, I think, in the 2008 vintage, don't quote me on that, but I think they got the number 2 wine in for the year. That year
from United States wineries
with the Catherine Hall Cabernet. So they had received a lot of acclaim, but they had not. They didn't have the ability to see the amount of people that they wanted because it was a very small tasting room. So that's why they built the big tasting room that they have. And after that, they were able. Then they also had a lot more room for production. Then they were able to really start making the wine, and it was like I said, in 06, 07, when the economy was bad, they moved into Pinot. They also, at the same time, in the Cabernet world, were able to go to vineyards that were you couldn't buy grapes from because they were very famous and they were locked down under contract going back 30, 40 years. Well, when the economy was bad, some of these producers stopped paying their bills. Like they didn't have the money. So the Halls went and said, well, we'll take over that contract and we will buy these wonderful Cabernet grapes. So it was really, in my opinion, 05, 6, 7 when they took the next step. And then when they opened up that big tasting room it was 01, 02, maybe. I mean 11 or 12 in that range, 13 maybe. Then now Hall is
So before the sourcing, they were growing the cab on their own.
They did both. They grew cab and then they also sourced both. But they were able to, all the great contracts they got.
Was from like 05, 06 onward, like the economic recession you said, that's when they were able to obtain much better quality cab grapes.
And they've held on to those ever since. Very tightly.
and Steve, where does he come? Has he always been with Walt from the very beginning?
No, Steve has a background with several producers. In fact, the original winemaker for Walt was Mike Reynolds. He's now our president.
Oh, okay.
He's the president of the company. So he was the winemaker at Schramsberg. They make great sparkling wines. And
this is the U.S.
Yes,
Schramsberg.
Yeah, and when the hall started, they hired Mike and told him it was going to be a very small, tiny Cabernet label, and he made the wines, and then they grew very fast.
Okay.
Mike's, this isn't what I thought it was going to be small. So he actually transitioned to running the company, and they hired Steve, who had worked for Mugabe previously and others, to take over.
So Steve came in around which year?
Oh, gosh. It would have been 03, 04, maybe earlier. It was in that time.
03 or 04.
Yeah, because
okay.
Mike made the first handful of vintages. I don't know the exact year Steve came in. And then Steve
less than 10, maybe 5, 6, or 7.
Yeah, no, he didn't. Yeah.
Steve.
And then Steve came in, and then Megan came in, and I believe in 08, 09. And then we took Walt started, and they brought Allison in.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's
so every couple of years, then they, because of the expansion of the brands, then they have.
And no one leaves.
Yes.
No one leaves. Everybody's
such a neat, tight family.
Yeah, they take very good care of us.
Yes, that's good.
When we had the major fires here last year.
Oh yeah, how did that affect any of your properties or the grapes that you source?
The